That's all for you, Cindy. Please pay $700 for the dumpling.
I was told this by Olivia at Michelle's birthday celebration, an event I had never been invited to before. In front of me was just one dumpling. Pointing at it with her chopsticks, Olivia laughed as if she were feeding a pet and said, "Here you go." Even young Michelle seemed to be in on it, grinning at me. With their identical faces mocking me, mother and daughter looked like demons, and my affection for my grandchild faded away. "That's enough. I'll settle the bill and leave first," I said, standing up. Olivia waved me off with a smile, and even Justin, who avoided eye contact until the end, disappointed me. If they wanted to celebrate just the three of them, they should have done so. I would have been willing to pay, but their attitude extinguished any celebratory feelings I had. Furious, I headed to the cashier, determined never to get involved with them again, no matter what they said. Then, someone tapped me on the shoulder. After hearing her words, I decided to get back at Olivia and her family. "My name is Cindy. I am turning 65 this year. I have been blessed with children and have led an ordinary life as a housewife. My husband, who is always dedicated to his work, was a man of few words, but we managed to get along well. Although I believe my life has been free of major upheavals, I do have one concern. It is about my son's wife, Olivia. I think it's common for mothers-in-law and daughters-in-law to have a strained relationship. However, Olivia's attitude of treating me as an enemy just because I am her mother-in-law has left me at a loss."
Cindy, you're always at home with nothing to do, right? I'll let you take care of your cute grandchild.
"Olivia, I have plans today. I told you it would be difficult if you asked me suddenly, didn't I?"
I didn't hear anything about that. Are you just imagining that you told me?
I don't know when or where I might have upset her, but Olivia has always been harsh towards me. For example, she would often contact me suddenly or show up at my house, disregarding my plans and imposing tasks on me. Even when I took on these tasks, she never showed any gratitude, saying, "It's only natural for a parent to do that much." But if I refused, she would criticize me as if I were a terrible person. Lately, I've been making excuses to avoid complying with her demands. In response, Olivia has accused me of being a cold-hearted person. She would question whether I was treating her poorly or if I didn't love my grandchild, making it clear that she must really despise me. The decisive moment came when my granddaughter Michelle started elementary school, and I was looking after her after school.
"Grandma, you're being mean to Mom, aren't you?"
"What? No, I'm not. Why would you say that?"
"Mom said so. She said Grandma would definitely lie and say she didn't do it." "Liar." Mom was crying. "It's so sad. Apologize."
It seemed that Olivia had told Michelle that I was being mean to her, and Michelle repeated this to me. Naturally, I had no idea what she was talking about, so I tried to get more details from Michelle. However, Michelle seemed to believe Olivia's words completely and kept calling me a liar, making it impossible to have a conversation. I couldn't understand why Olivia would go so far as to turn even a young child against me. I had no idea what I had done wrong or how to handle the situation, and I was at a complete loss. When I consulted my husband, he dismissed it, saying, "They're just kids. they probably don't know any better. He didn't seem concerned at all. When I talked to my son, Justin, his response was equally cold. Handle your own problems.
She's probably just on edge dealing with her mother-in-law. She might feel like she's being bossed around.
I would never do that. It's unbearable to be treated with such hostility.
So what do you want me to say? Should I tell her to be nicer to you? If I do that, she'll think I'm taking your side, and things will get even worse for me.
It's not that. If she dislikes me, I want to know why. If she doesn't want to be involved with me, she should keep her distance. Think about how frustrating it is for me to be asked for favors while being treated this way.
She's the mother of your adorable grandchild. Can't you make some concessions?
Justin, being a peacemaker, always sided with Olivia. No matter how much I pleaded, he brushed me off, implying that I should just endure it. Unable to bear it any longer, I vented to my close friends. However, they would just say, "That's how daughters-in-law are," and I couldn't find a solution. Even though I was advised to keep my distance, Olivia would always find a way to involve me. Whether I listened to her to avoid conflict or gently refused, Olivia always seemed dissatisfied, leaving me at a loss. In the midst of all this, Olivia mentioned that we would be dining out at a famous Chinese restaurant to celebrate Michelle's 10th birthday. Despite sending gifts for birthdays, school admissions, Christmas, and other celebrations, I had never received a word of thanks from my son's family. Instead, Olivia would make snide remarks like,
"Cindy, you have no taste. It would be better if you just gave us cash."
Naturally, I had never been invited to any of these celebrations. After being told not to interfere with family events, I had stopped trying to get involved.
"We're celebrating with Michelle's favorite Chinese food. You're coming too, right, Cindy?"
"May I ask why you're inviting me?" I replied.
"You're Michelle's grandma, so it's not strange for you to come, is it?"
Olivia said, in a tone that was uncharacteristic of her usual attitude. I had a bad feeling about it. Still, I knew that if I didn't go, I would be criticized for not attending my granddaughter's birthday celebration. After much deliberation, I decided to attend. Despite my bad feeling, I held a faint hope that maybe this time things would change for the better. If my premonition was correct, I would never get involved again. With that thought, I headed to the Chinese restaurant on the appointed day. As expected, my faint hope was immediately dashed. Olivia and the others were waiting, smirking at me with malicious grins.
"Look. There's shark fin soup, Michelle's favorite. Let's eat a lot since Grandma is treating us today."
"What?" I exclaimed.
Yay!
Michelle cheered. When I expressed my surprise, Olivia burst out laughing as if she were having the time of her life. Since it was Michelle's 10th birthday celebration, I didn't mind covering the cost of the meal. However, I was taken aback by Olivia's declaration, as if it were a given before I even had the chance to offer. Olivia continued.
"Surely you didn't come here expecting a free meal, did you? How shameless."
I didn't mean that, but I would have appreciated knowing the cost in advance, I replied. Olivia retorted.
"Huh? I told you beforehand, didn't I? Don't blame others for your forgetfulness." It's true that memory fades with age.
With the usual exchange of snide remarks, I realized that what I had hoped for was never going to happen. I thought I would just eat quickly and wrap things up. As I reached for the delicious-looking dishes being served one after another, Olivia suddenly said,
Hey, what do you think you're doing?
"What?" "I'm just trying to eat," I replied. When I reached for one of the luxurious dishes, Olivia slapped my hand away. Her gesture was like scolding a child for misbehaving, and I broke into a cold sweat, wondering if I had done something wrong. But then, Olivia looked at my flustered expression and, with a snide laugh, said something outrageous.
Today, you're in charge of the wallet, so don't eat anything, okay?
"What?" Olivia laughed.
Did you really think you were invited to celebrate Michelle's birthday? You're here to pay the bill, obviously.
Michelle chimed in.
Yeah, pay up.
Olivia continued.
You should be grateful we even gave you a seat. Touching the food is out of the question.
Olivia and Michelle took turns mocking me. Even seeing this, Justin averted his eyes and said nothing. With no one on my side, I felt my heart tighten. The relentless harassment left me sighing in frustration. Feeling unwell, I even considered just leaving. Then, for some reason, Olivia dropped a single dumpling onto my empty plate.
Well, I guess you can have that much.
Michelle laughed.
Haha. Mom, just one dumpling.
Olivia added.
That's all for you, Cindy. Please pay $700 for the dumpling.
Michelle chimed in.
Grandma, you're so lame. Haha.
Even young Michelle laughed at me. With their identical faces mocking me like demons, my affection for my granddaughter faded away. I decided to cut ties with them for good. I no longer felt like celebrating the birthday, but if I thought of it as a severance payment, it was a small price to pay. That's enough. I'll settle the bill and leave first. Olivia responded.
Oh. You're leaving already? Thanks for the treat.
Please, don't involve me anymore, I replied. I was disappointed that Justin avoided eye contact until the end. No matter what was said, Justin wouldn't reprimand Olivia or even Michelle. I'll never get involved again, no matter what they ask, I thought, feeling my anger boil as I headed to the cashier. When I headed to the cashier, the restaurant owner appeared, looking flustered.
Excuse me, but the course meal is still ongoing. Could you wait a little longer?
I'm sorry, but I'll be leaving now. Could I settle the bill first? I replied. The owner asked.
Was the food not to your liking?
No, the dumpling was delicious.
Just the dumpling? Was there something in the other dishes you didn't like?
The owner inquired. It seemed Olivia had reserved a course meal, and the owner was puzzled by my early departure. Unsure how to explain, I blurted out. Apparently, I'm just here to pay. Then, someone tapped me on the shoulder. It was my friend Mary Tanaka, who had previously listened to my complaints and seemed to have witnessed the whole scene.
I saw what happened earlier. It was much worse than what you told me.
When did you get here, Mary? I asked. I arrived just before you did. I heard everything, she replied. Mary had come to the restaurant with her colleagues and happened to see the interaction between me and my son's family. Seeing me head to the cashier, she hurried over to speak to me. Mary seemed much more outraged by their behavior than I was and stopped me from paying, saying,
"You don't need to pay."
Mary continued,
"Cindy, even if she's your granddaughter, that behavior is unacceptable. At her age, she should know better than to treat family like that."
But no one listens to me, not even my son Justin.
"Does that mean you should just go along with it?"
Mary asked, making me realize something. When I looked back, my son's family was happily chatting and enjoying their meal, not paying any attention to me. They probably didn't even consider me part of the family anymore. Justin glanced at me for a moment but quickly looked away when our eyes met. Seeing his pathetic behavior, I felt like the person sitting there was no longer my son.
If they don't understand words, you need to show them with actions. I'll help you.
Thank you, Mary. Could you lend me a hand? I replied. With Mary's words, I finally felt like I had an ally. The restaurant owner, sensing the tense situation, nodded at me as if to show support. "I'm sorry, but I've only eaten one dumpling," the owner replied.
I understand. Let's do this.
Thanks to our explanation and the owner's decision, I only had to pay for the one dumpling I actually ate. Although I felt a bit awkward putting just a few coins on the tray, the owner smiled and handed me the receipt.
The rest will be paid by those who eat the food.
Thank you, I replied. With the unexpected support from the kind owner and my friend, I felt a sense of relief, thinking that this was a fitting consequence for them. However, with Mary's encouragement, I wasn't going to let their punishment end there. "I'm sorry. Thank you so much for today," Mary replied.
It's okay. From now on, if someone does something unpleasant, let's firmly stand up to them.
Yes, thank you. Actually, I have one more favor to ask. Is that all right? I asked. I thanked Mary and asked her for a favor before seeing her off as she returned to the restaurant. Then, I headed home, determined to deliver justice to my son's family. The next day, when my doorbell rang, I was certain it was Olivia. I had anticipated that she would come to complain about the payment from the previous day. Sure enough, when I looked at the monitor, there was Olivia glaring at the camera with a terrifying expression. I went to the door to greet her.
Hey, Cindy. How could you not pay for yesterday's food and drinks?
Food and drinks? What are you talking about? I replied.
Don't play dumb. I'm talking about Michelle's birthday party yesterday.
Olivia snapped. Michelle, who had come with Olivia, also glared at me and said,
Yeah. At least pay the money.
As the restaurant owner had said, my son's family had to pay for themselves and were in a panic. They hadn't brought their wallets, expecting me to pay, and Justin had to run to the convenience store ATM, which was quite embarrassing for them. Michelle furrowed her brows in anger and yelled at me. Her expression was not one that should be directed at a family member. I sighed lightly and then faced Olivia to talk. I only ate one dumpling yesterday. So, I just paid for what I ate.
I told you the dumpling costs $700, didn't I? Maybe you didn't hear it because of your age?
I didn't want to pay for such rude behavior from my daughter-in-law and granddaughter, I retorted. This seemed to anger Olivia and Michelle even more, and they started insulting me.
What do you mean by such behavior? Do you think you can do anything just because you're Michelle's grandmother?
Michelle added,
I don't want a grandma like you. Stop acting so high and mighty.
Ignoring their own behavior, Olivia pointed at me as if I were the villain. Michelle joined in, acting like a hero delivering justice. Did I really deserve to be yelled at like this? Unable to hold back, I voiced my question, and the response was shocking. Why do I have to be spoken to like this? What exactly is your problem with me? What have I done? Olivia replied,
You haven't done anything. It's just that daughters-in-law don't like their mothers-in-law, simply because they're mothers-in-law.
What do you mean?
Exactly what I said. This time, I was just annoyed and thought I'd make you useful as a wallet.
I was stunned by Olivia's unexpected words. Before I could signal, the door to the next room opened. Mary, who had been waiting, entered the living room. Seeing Mary's face, both Olivia and Michelle were left speechless, their mouths agape.
I've been listening, and I can't believe how you're treating my friend.
Michelle exclaimed.
What? Miss Tanaka? Why are you here?
Michelle was the most shocked by Mary's sudden appearance, and it was understandable. Mary still works as a Japanese language teacher and is Michelle's homeroom teacher at her Japanese language school. When I had confided in Mary, she found it hard to believe because Michelle's behavior at school was so different. However, after witnessing yesterday's events, Mary decided to support me and came to my house today.
Michelle, when you said you wished I were your real grandmother, I was really happy.
Michelle responded.
Miss Tanaka, don't be fooled. This woman made my mom cry.
Mary replied.
My friend would never do that. Besides, your mom just admitted she wasn't mistreated.
What? Mom, didn't Grandma bully you?
It seemed Olivia had been feeding Michelle various negative stories about me, which Michelle believed without question. Olivia, realizing she had been overheard, looked shocked. She quickly became flustered and glanced at Michelle with a troubled expression. Seeing her mother's reaction, Michelle's face turned pale. I was at a loss for words, witnessing Olivia's inability to even fabricate a convincing lie.
Miss Tanaka, please listen to our side too. It's not fair to take her side just because she's your friend.
Mary replied.
I am listening. You said yourself that nothing happened.
Olivia stammered.
That was just a figure of speech.
Olivia, who is usually very articulate, tried to make excuses and win Mary over. However, Mary judged based on the behavior she had witnessed rather than Olivia's unsubstantiated claims. Mary had no intention of siding with Olivia and Michelle, who is now on the verge of tears after being scolded by her teacher.
Trying to make her pay $700 for just one dumpling? That's no way to treat family.
But it's my birthday, and Mom said it's only natural for Grandma to pay.
Mary replied.
And that attitude you showed earlier, Michelle. You wouldn't speak like that unless you look down on someone. You must talk to your grandmother like that all the time.
It seemed that Michelle really admired Mary and never showed the same attitude towards her as she did towards me. Hearing such words from her favorite teacher, Michelle was visibly shocked. Seeing Michelle's reaction, Olivia glared at me but couldn't say anything.
It's cowardly to tattle to the teacher.
Mary replied.
It's not tattling. I just happened to see how you were behaving.
Olivia retorted.
I don't care. Cindy, don't expect to see your granddaughter ever again.
That's exactly what I want. Please, don't involve me anymore, I responded. With a resentful look, Olivia took Michelle's hand and left. Watching them leave, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Mary patted me on the back and said,
After what you said, they won't be able to act high and mighty anymore.
Thank you, Mary. I'm sorry for troubling you so many times. Mary replied.
It's fine. They wouldn't listen to you, right? It's no wonder, given their attitude.
Thanks to the lively Mary, I was able to cut ties with Olivia and her family. Although I regretted not being able to say anything to Justin, I knew Olivia wouldn't bother me anymore. Seeing Olivia, who was always so confident, falter, I felt my long-held frustrations finally dissipate. After that, Olivia had a fight with Michelle, who blamed her for being disliked by the teacher because of the lies Olivia had told about me. Olivia couldn't appease Michelle and called me to complain.
Cindy, please explain the situation to Ms. Tanaka. Do you want Michelle to be unable to attend her Japanese class?
I replied, What situation? Mary saw the whole truth. What is there to explain now?
If you say you were harassing me, my story won't be a lie. Can't you just go along with it?
No. This is your own doing. You should sincerely apologize to Michelle, I responded. Olivia called me several times, but since she was the one who told me not to get involved, I didn't answer her calls anymore. Justin also called, saying he didn't know whose side to take, Olivia's or Michelle's, and was at a loss. I was exasperated by Justin's indecisiveness and told him, Solve your own problems, echoing the words he once said to me. Michelle continues to study Japanese in Mary's class, but it seems that being scolded that day had a significant impact on her, and she has become much quieter.
Well, she was a bit too energetic before, so this is probably a good time for her to reflect.
I see. That's good to hear, I replied. Mary continued.
Cindy, you don't need to worry. As her teacher, I'll keep an eye on her.
Thank you. I really owe you, Mary. Mary replied.
It's fine. We're friends, aren't we?
Mary said this as if it were nothing. Even though she told me not to worry, I couldn't help but feel grateful to her. I planned to take Mary out for the Chinese food I missed as a way of thanking her.
How did you like this story? Please subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.